Welcome back to another episode of Full Retard. Today we have some more entitled parent stories for you. First up, a letter I wrote this morning but haven't sent to my manipulative entitled father. I just need to vent. I found out last weekend after having tried to maintain communication with my a-hole father, who legitimately proudly calls himself a psychopath, that he has been telling the boys, my adult little brothers who live with him, that he's been trying to talk to me forever and I ignore him, even though I have our message history to prove the exact opposite. My brothers somehow don't believe that I'm the one constantly ignored and keep ridiculing me for not talking to our dad, even after showing them how many times he has left me on read. In short, he thinks he's entitled to my time, no matter how he treats me, even if he doesn't even effing show up or wake up when I actually come over. Anyways, here's the letter that I have written out for the next time he decides to text me some snippy BS. How do I even start? My theory is that you're angry at me because I grew up and now I see everything you say for what it is, a manipulative tactic. And because I don't need anything from you anymore, you don't have anything to force me to comply anymore. I've seen it for years, but couldn't call you on it because you were my father and I needed that safety net. But you have proven since my first sexual assault that you were never the safety net I needed, that your alpha wolf inner circle BS was always just for show, to make you feel better about yourself. Who the F tells their daughter after being sexually assaulted by her boss the next time she is sexually harassed by her new boss that she should have just slept with him, and then screams at her when she's crying? That was so effed up. I legitimately still have flashbacks/nightmares that I get assaulted again. And when I come to you, you laugh in my face and beat me because that's how it felt when you dismissed my horror for the second time. I came to you about your little chef friend, telling you I was terrified to work alone with him, that I was having panic attacks when he would follow me into the walk-in where there were no cameras, and you laughed in my effing face. It was then at 19 that I knew I could never trust you to protect me and that all of your grandstanding was BS. Now, I've already told you at length that the way you communicate with me is unacceptable on all levels. First, let's address the frequency, as I know for a fact that you've been manipulating the boys by telling them that I never talk to you, I never respond to you, etc. When the boys tell me that I need to respond to my dad, I laugh every time. You know why? Because every time that's been said to me, I can very easily pull out my phone and show proof that it is in fact you who ignores me. You reaching out to me is so rare that my reaction is always the same one you give me as a child saying, I love you, or asking for a hug. What the F do you want? I have tried for the last 2 years to maintain contact with you to no avail. I've gone back through my call logs. Do you know how many times you've called me in the last 2 years? Once. And that one call was to guilt me for not talking to you, an abject lie. A glaring example is my message from mid-July. You responded almost a month later, and that was clearly only after you had decided to open my message in order to guilt me about not dedicating a birthday song to you. I'm not sure whether you ignorantly or purposely misinterpreted my response, but let me make it clear what I meant. When I said, you haven't seen me for my birthday for 2 years, that was highlighting how effing entitled you were acting, asking that of me when I have tried to make plans just to see my own father on my birthday, only to have my multiple messages completely ignored. Which leads us to the multiple reasons why I have stopped making any effort to see you. Remember when you invited me up to cook seitan with you? It was just effing excited. My love language is exactly quality time, and the only quality time you've ever given me in my life was in the kitchen. I was so excited to have a day where it was just you and me experimenting with food again and having fun. I sat there waiting at your house. Hours passed. You said you would be there, which is to be expected. After we went shopping, you promptly sat down at your video game and ignored me. I did everything that day. I flat out begged you to put the dang computer down away and spend some time with me at least twice that day. I was ignored. I have made plans with you to have dinner when we had to be back at home that night. You swore to me that we would have an early dinner. I told you that we had to leave by a specific time. I have sat again for hours in your house, tried to wake you up the entire time only to be shrugged off. You only woke up well after the time that I had already told you we needed to leave by. You have never valued me or my time. If you wanted to spend time with me, you would make time, but you don't. So I have to start valuing my own time. My time in town is much better spent with people who actually care about me and want to see me. I could be having a good time with my family and friends, not waiting 8 hours for you to wake up or show up to a predetermined date we had, and simmering in my resentment of you as a result, while my friends are literally begging me to come over to their houses because they miss me and rarely get to see me. and now coronavirus. Those friends that love to actively spend time with me, 2 of them have immune disorders. They could actually effing die if they got caught COVID. I've seen yours and name redacted stepmom very quantum times on this whole thing being a hoax, despite messaging me in giddy delight that the world was ending when it all first started, but I digress. I've seen stepmom's social media posts of you and your new family engaging in risky behavior, no mask, no social distancing, and brazen disregard for the well-being of others. I've already made it known to you where I stand on your morals, and it's clear that it doesn't affect you, so it doesn't matter. But if I were to come to your house and catch COVID, then inadvertently pass it on to one of my friends, that could be irreparable harm. I could never forgive myself. I could never forgive you. So no matter how you change your behavior until COVID has blown over, you won't be seeing me and you won't be welcome in my home, which will be remaining a quarantine bubble so that the people who actually want to spend quality time with me can trust that they have a safe, responsible place to do so. My final point is the apologies you've given me for being a crappy father. By definition, and those apologies you've admitted fault. You know you've been a father to me. You swear to me that you're going to be a better dad, but apologies without changed behavior are worth less than nothing. They're manipulations. Bear in mind that this is by absolutely no means an exhaustive list of transgressions, and these are only since I've reached adulthood. Until you can change your behavior towards me, we won't have anything beyond a cordial relationship. This means respecting me, respecting by time showing up when you say you will, not speaking down to me, not lying about me to others, not initiating conversation that has already been laid out as a boundary, and therefore off limits. I am a whole grown adult, and I am worthy of respect. I'm done trying to train you in how to treat your daughter. You should grow up and figure it out yourself. Next up, my entitled mother canceled my birthday. I'm 13 and my entitled mom, is always making a scene for no reason. My dad is a little bit of an alcoholic, but he doesn't get abusive or anything. So I wake up feeling good today, and while Dad was preparing a Mexican shrimp salad and he had music playing, and out of nowhere my entitled mom starts yelling at him saying, "It's not your party," and he wasn't doing anything. While I'm playing Fortnite, yeah, I play Fortnite with my friends, I start hearing screeching, and I mute myself just to see what's happening. Guess who it is? Entitled mom. It stopped for a while, and out of the blue, she comes in my room telling me, "It's canceled," and I feel like dying inside. Now, a couple of seconds ago, entitled mom was screeching in my room telling me, "How didn't you hear it? Dad said," he said a joke, and that was it. And they moved rooms to start yelling, and she's stomping her feet saying, "No, no, no," because she's not getting her way. Too long, didn't read. Entitled mom is screeching at Dad because she won't get her way on my birthday. Edit. She apologized, but I don't feel like taking that because she's called me an a-hole and stupid a couple of days ago. I might be an a-hole, but she makes herself look like the victim. Next, my child hit you, you're such a bully, by Hollow Howler. So just to clarify, this is my first post on here, so if it's a little messy, please forgive me. So there is this little crap that lives in the state away. He's 5 to 6, so old enough to feel empathy, and he likes to bully everyone in the 2 estates because his mom is, of course, a Karen. There's been a few incidents that's come to mind, but a really annoying thing he used to do is climb on a pile of dirt in front of our house. Whilst we were doing up our backyard, despite being told 10 to 20 times, it got to the point where I warned him that if he didn't again, I would physically remove him. That ended in a 10-minute screaming match, which his mom, I'm 14, but that's a whole other story. I can take getting berated by some crazy lady, but one thing I will not take is that same crazy lady yelling at me, my 10-year-old sister. So now, for the actual story. So, neighbor kid 1 was out playing on his bike when the little S pulls up and decides, I want that bike, so he walks up to new neighbor 1, who's talking to new neighbor 2, and proceeds to pick up a stick and watch new neighbor 1 across the face. New neighbor 1 obviously came off the bike, and the little crap tries to get on, but new neighbor 2 stops him. He then proceeds to hit her 5 times with a stick. This is where my sister comes in. She runs up and yells, "What are you doing?" The little crap responds, "I'm taking my bike." S replies, "It's not your bike. Get away." So he walks up to her and starts whacking her as hard as he could with the darn stick. So Sister does the most reasonable thing she can. She punches him right in the stomach. The little crap bends over and starts vomiting hard and then runs off sobbing. 5 minutes later, entitled Mom shows up demanding to know why. You hit my baby. Sister responds, keep in mind, she has marks from where she was hit. He hit me with a stick, entitled Mom says. He was just playing. He didn't mean to. This is when new neighbor 2 leaves to get back Band-Aids for entitled kid 1, who is bleeding. She is a little older than me, and entitled Mom starts shouting, nice, screaming about how new kid 1 and sister are bullies and using some very non-family friendly words against them. This is where I come home from my walk. See this walk over, tell new kid 1 and sister to cover their ears and begin a screaming match with this entitled bimbo, sorry, French screaming, about how her child is a narcissistic psychopath who is such an a-hole to everyone in the state, and how if he's like that, she failed as a mother. I admit that I may have been a bit far, but she was also screaming about how my parents didn't want either of us, and to go back to where we came from, we were born where we just looked Maltese. So for a good 10 minutes, this goes on until new kid 2 walks out and entitled Mom says, aha, a reasonable young lady. What do you think? To which entitled kid 2 responds, your kid is an a-hole. Go back to your own estate, Karen. To which entitled Mom scoffs and says, so nobody here is smart, and walks off? If you read this far, thank you. I hope you have a nice day, and I'll post if anything else happens. Last, entitled Grandpa by ya boy Roy, 61. So it was a nice summer day, 3 hours ago. Me and my cousin, who lives in Michigan, was visiting me, and we were out in the creek we live in next to looking for snakes. They aren't poisonous. This will come in later. While in the middle of this old dolt trudges over and tries to save the day. He's how the dialogue went. It's juicy. What you guys doing? Looking for snakes. You kids better get out of that creek. There's poisonous snakes in there. We saw a copperhead earlier, and they're non-poisonous snakes, so it's all good. Okay, we will go. I'll call the cops on you. This came out of nowhere. Like, this is a public creek. We're even members of the neighborhood association. There is no reason for him to yell at us. We headed back home, and I told my dad what happened. Dad muttered his last name. Come on, guys, let's go. He got mad how I liked. So apparently this guy, entitled Grandpa, was already a neighborhood troublemaker, being nosy and yelling at innocent people. So we walked to his backyard. He was on his porch, being a resilient jerk. My dad yelled his name, and he got up and walked over to him. What are you saying to my kids? They are just playing, and you have no right to yell at them to go away. I was just saving them. Dude, come on. We're kids. Who cares? By threatening to call the police on them? They are just exploring and having fun. But there's poisonous snakes in that creek. I'm teaching them. Like you taught your 9-year-old daughter how to crash into our pool. Okay, that needs explanation. Basically, entitled Grandpa's 9-year-old freaking daughter got his car keys and drove the car into the neighborhood pool. She wasn't hurt. The pool gates just needed to be repaired. The rest is just arguing. My dad being the awesome person he is, won, obviously. Anyway, that's all from that. It was too funny not to share, so yeah. I'll update you if I have any updates on him. Edit. For people wondering if copperheads were poisonous or venomous, sorry, I didn't make this clear, but we were looking for them and not grabbing them. We were being as safe as possible. Thanks for listening. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. Subscribe to our podcast and like us on Facebook.